The weather's just turned. It's so cold now, so it's very autumn colours. Orangey, and I feel nice to have all the trees turning yellow. And also it's funny because every time it's the autumn I think about Collection when we shot it in Alabama, and I go, oh my god, that was such a good autumn. And I think about Happy being in New York. Every time it hit the autumn, I would always be like, oh my god, there's another 5 jobs to do, and going on set in different places feels so good. And also being able to go somewhere where you can honor the place and make them feel good about what you're doing, it feels quite satisfying. And being in the Directors Guild of America, being in SAG, there's something going on outside. And also having this idea that I also think I shot the second film I ever did. I shot it. I'm the Same. I shot in LA in the autumn as well. That was me directing a film about Scottish independence, which I have a clip of on this YouTube channel. And also, by the way, you guys should subscribe, because it's pretty authentic stuff we've got going on here. And I do think right now is about being authentic. It's an era to... I've always been authentic. I never wore makeup on the red carpet. I was always trying to wear pajamas on the red carpet whenever I could. And then it was only when I got into Glow, and the Glow girls were so fancy, and Ted Sarandos gave us this budget for our... we had dresses, we had a budget for hair and makeup, we had drivers, and this huge budget for the Glow parties every year. So we would just make sure that at all the award ceremonies we looked really good, because we were given that money. And because of that, I got Amada Madassa to do... She's a Jamaican genius, female designer, couture, beautiful. She did like a beaded couture thing for me that made me look like Botticelli's Venus. I was like, can we do something where it's like Venus coming out of the shell? Because it's just beauty. But the thing about that Botticelli is so real. It feels real. It doesn't, if you look at it, it doesn't feel too much. It feels like she's a real person. She's a real woman. The way that Shakespeare wrote about women, that the thing that he loves about them isn't that they're perfect, but the things that are not perfect about them, he loves in a way that's almost extra to what he loves about them that's perfect. Because they're real. They're real. So that's the thing, you know, if you're trying to get with somebody, get with someone who's real. That authenticity between a man and a woman, there's something where it clicks in and it feels genuine, real exchange. It's meant to happen. It was written in the stars, star-crossed. But I do think that because I took so long to get into the dresses, I was very, very, very anti-fancy dresses. And then I realised it could be part of the process, because all the Glow girls were dressed so well, and they made me understand that, you know, they would have like 1,000 conversations. Jackie Tone would have like 1,000 conversations with like Rebecca Johnson about what they were wearing to some event, and I would be like, oh my god, like they're literally spending their whole lives talking about it. And I was like, I may as well just get in on that conversation or take it seriously, because they're taking it seriously. So there was a way to do it that felt authentic to me. And one of the first times we had so many parties for Glow, but it was like an Emmy party, and I had a limo driver coming to pick me up in my Silver Lake house, and I was gonna go, so I took all this I'm just this way, so I took a lot of fresh fruit and veg from the farmers market and from Erewhon. I wasn't gonna like snack on crap, so I was like, it's gonna be a long night, so I brought so much shit in my like Erewhon bags of food in my limo, and And I was just eating a lot of like fresh fruit that was organic, because in the States, like in Glasgow, in Scotland, everything's organic. It feels like if you throw a stone, you get a nice piece of fruit here. But in the States, if you throw a stone, like the fruit's really bad. Fruit and veg there is offensive. It's like horrible. It's like tasting death. So you want to get like organic fruit and veg when you're in the States, and maybe that'll change in some point in the future, but it was definitely not like that for a long time when I was there. So I had to get organic stuff from Erewhon or the farmer's market, and I had this stash of it in my limo, and not only did the Glow Girls take the piss out of me for like bringing fresh fruit to this thing, because we're so healthy. Like, I'm so healthy. I haven't done a drug. Like, I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't drink alcohol. So I think they're taking the piss at me for being so healthy, when like I'm sure other people, if they got a limo, would be like, let's get raged, let's get soused, or let's get pickled or something. Like, people would want to celebrate and like start getting like get the cigars in or something. But I'm just kind of like, I'll have a cigar once in a blue moon, but literally don't even smoke cigars anymore. But I used to smoke cigars because I would get like sweet ones or something like that if it was a fancy event. But I loved like doing a lot of yoga and headstands, and then just like getting a cigar out once in a while. But I also felt this funny thing where Shakira Barrera, it was her first year of Glow. So it was like the second year, I think. And it was her first year, so she'd not done anything, and she was invited to all of our Emmy stuff, but she didn't have a car to drive her for some reason, because it was like a last minute thing where they hadn't given her a limo yet. And I was like, you can just ride in my car. Like, don't be stupid, just ride in my limo, you know? Like, of course. I would have taken her mom, her cousins, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, that's how we are in Glasgow. Like, you can't, like, if someone needs a ride, you're like, I'll totally give you a ride, you know? I would have done the same if it was a bicycle, but it was a limousine. So it was just me and her in the limo all night, going from party to party. And I think it was like the Emmys or the Golden Globes. I can't remember what party it was, but it was definitely Glow. And she was like, this is so cool. Not only is it like Mariana's limo of generosity, but also I was giving her like my watermelon and like my organic like Erewhon shit that was all like so nice. And she was like, this is so cool. And that's when we became like friends. We'd been on the show for a second together, but that's when we were like mates, like properly. And then after that, like a year later, I didn't even know, but I would hire her in Collection to be my favorite character. I mean, of all time, but also that character that she has in Collection like came out of this cool collaboration between all of us, but also the writer had written Christina as a single mom who was Latina. And I was like, can she be from Nicaragua? And I'm going to hire Shakira Barrera. And I was trying to do like a Ken Loach type of homage to Carla's song. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Carla's song, but Carla's song fucking changed our lives here in Glasgow. Robert Carlyle is such a good bus driver in it. And he sees this woman on Buchanan Street, like busking, except she's dancing. And she has just like this big long white skirt. And I was like, mate, this is so feminine and sweet and like, oh, it's just nice. And of course, not only does he take her to Nicaragua, but like they're all healed in the process. Like he's healed. It's such like a mass healing of a film, Carla's song. And they shot it in order. I remember that fact about it. So like she has all this PTSD from being with the Sandinistas in Nicaragua, so she's definitely got a lot of issues. So they shot her nightmares first, and then they did the rest of the film in Glasgow, and then they went back to Nicaragua, and then they came back to Glasgow, and they shot it all in order, because Ken Loach is like that. He likes to do stuff to help the actors like that and the crew, so everyone knows what the hell's going on. Because all of the time we shoot out of order. If you can multitask, I like to multitask as a director. Like, I'll just shoot fucking anything. It doesn't have to be, as an actor, I don't have to do it in order. Like, I get the story structure without having it to, like, having the whole schedule have to be, like, like the chronological order of how it was written. But also, there's something about just being able to, I think women also, not only do we finish each other's sentences, but we anticipate each other a lot. So when I'm working with a woman, there's a lot of this stuff that happens in collaboration where it's telepathic. Is unsaid, and it doesn't have to be something that, you know, I say 25 times. It's like, I know I can delegate to all these ladies, and I just do it. So And when you've worked with someone who's a man who you can delegate to as well, you feel like, oh, I can do that too. So there's this sense of, if you've worked with people before, you know what they can do as well. And they know what you're capable of. But I loved that full circle moment. And I think the other thing that happened on the red carpet that night, I think we were at Chateau Marmont for a party. It was like, oh my God, it was like one of the one of the magazine's party. Yeah, it was like a press magazine's party. It was like People Magazine's party or something for the Golden Globes or the Emmys at Chateau Marmont. And I had a wicked dress on. I think it might have been like the blue dress I had that was very kind of royal blue. It was also Madame Adassa. Ooh, that one was like so good. That was the night where I met Willem on the red carpet, and Willem said to me, "You're better dressed than anyone here. If you're the dress of the night, and for the whole night of like hundreds of thousands of people, you're the one who's got the best dress." And I was like, oh, that's so nice, because I didn't realize that Willem had made her career from saying that everyone had a shit dress on, and that Willem was the best dressed. But then Willem said to me, "You're actually the best dressed." And I didn't realize what a compliment that was, coming from someone who'd spent so many years in the industry, and is basically kind of the Joan Rivers of our modern time. I said as well, oh my God, you can have this dress because it is your size, and you can have my earrings, have everything, have the heels, have everything, you know. And Willem was like, well, you can have any of my press-on nails you want. Like, I have a lot of press-on nails in my place. And I was like, yeah, okay, mate. Like, I do want those. Because, like, I want access to that, like, array of shit you've got in your, like, Hollywood studio. But not only did Willem say that to me, but before that happened, I had these snacks. I had, like, some kind of, like, I think I had, like, a big tub. You guys, if you know Erewhon, there's, like, this big tub of pomegranate seeds that they have. My table is wobbly, sorry guys, it's a wobbly day. And this pomegranate seeded thing is so good. It's just organic pomegranate seeds, and I was eating them while I was being interviewed, like on live TV or whatever. There were all these interviews we were doing standing on the red carpet, and for whatever reason I dropped my pomegranate seeds on the red carpet. And I can't tell you, but like Britt Young was there, all the Glow Girls were there, Kimmy and Rebecca were there, Sidel was there, and Jackie Tone was there. Like, Jackie gave me so much shit, man. Like, they were like, you dropped organic fruit, like in the middle of all their interviews. They were just like, Mariana's dropping all her organic Erewhon fruit like on the red carpet. Nobody does that except Mariana. And I also picked it up or something. Like, I didn't want people to stand on it or like fall on it, because obviously there's so many chicks with their high heels. I was like such a safety issue queen, so I was like picking the stuff up. And I think they also just take the piss out of me for doing that for like the rest of my life. I think I still get shit from the Glow Girls for not just having fruit on the red carpet, but dropping it and having it be pomegranate seeds. And it was crazy. Also, the other thing is, I think that carpet was grey or something that night. They did something wacky where the red carpet was a different colour, so you could really see the red pomegranate seeds. They showed, so I was like picking them up with my bare hands, and then went into the party and felt excited to be there, and also just over the moon that Glow was not only recognised by all of America, but it was recognised by the original Glow Girls, so we felt like we had honoured them. If you guys don't know, Glow is a group of female wrestlers. I mean, they're American wrestling pioneers, and the show is based on their lives, what they brought to wrestling, how they created essentially and helped to create what modern wrestling is. And they had their own show that was on in America, I think on a Saturday morning, so a lot of people watched it growing up, but people of all ages watched it, and they had it was very, very successful. So we were making this show about these women who were learning to wrestle, but my character Reggie Walsh was already somebody who was an athlete. She had been to the Olympics, and she was like doing a lot of throwing things, in that, like, in the, like, as an athlete, she was doing a lot of stuff in the, in her own section, and also, like, had won gold medals, it felt like. So when I wasn't smiling and being really tough, it felt like that was what the character was, and she needed to just be taken seriously. And also, like, I tried to make her really so slow as an actress, like, not an actress at all. So whenever they asked her to do anything that was acting, schmacting, she'd be like, I don't know what that is. And when they're doing the read-through, all the actresses are, like, hamming it up, and I had a piece of paper that had the script on it, and I just chose to do that thing where I've never been nervous in an audition because I don't get nervous, but, like, as an actress, like, I wouldn't get nervous to go on the stage. I never got nervous to go on the stage. I felt like I was walking into heaven, so why would I get scared? I don't get pukey. A lot of people get, like, scared to just walk out on the stage, and I never had that fear. I just felt like it was where I was meant to be. But also I knew it was, like, intense. And it wasn't, like, an egotistical thing. It's more like I'm part of a community. I'll probably be all right. But the stakes weren't that high for me. Because I was coming from doing fuck all, like, at my mom's house. I could go out to the stage in New York and not brick it, not shit it, not get nervous. But I made Reggie Walsh have a piece of paper that had the glow script on it. And it's like we're filming the TV show within the TV show. And it's, like, so funny. But within the ring, if you look at my character, one time she's holding this script like that. But I made her do this. And just, like, that thing of, like, a first-time actor. When they're scared as fuck and they're, like, standing in the audition, or the first time you shoot something and they're just, like, holding the paper, like, but they're pretending it's not moving because they don't even know it's moving because they're that fucking scared. Or they're so new. Like, I wanted her to be so fresh and not know anything. Like, she's not Red Hamlet. She doesn't know about, you know, the 25 different realities, the ways in which you could play Lady Macbeth. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's not schooled, or she's not coming from, like, a Clifford Odets school in New York where you can feel the, like, the group theatre and go, oh my God, I feel the group theatre's effect on all of these New York actors. You know, like, she's not been to Strasbourg, she's not been to Adler, like, she doesn't know these different places. And when I went to the Atlantic Theatre Company, it was such a relief for me to go there in New York, and that's my theatre company in New York. I love them, and I studied with them for multiple years, was on their stage off Broadway, like, would die on the stage for them at the Atlantic Theatre Company, and they could feel my devotion to them. And I felt that sense of giving my life to the theatre when I was 17, and I felt like they understood. I think the first thing I did on stage was I played the character in Trainspotting, Kelly Macdonald's character. Like, sorry, Kelly. Because I felt like it was such blasphemy to play her after she had done it so well. I was like, why should I do this in New York right now? Like, this is so hard. And therefore, that was a time where I felt a wee bit, like, weird about doing something. But then everything else that I did, like, I sat on Ted Danson's knee for a 24-hour show, and I was Molly Malloy on that stage. I did all this, like, authentic stuff. But when I was doing Reggie Walsh in Glow, you have to take all that away and be like, I don't even know about Tennessee Williams. I've not read any Conor McPherson. Like, you know, I don't follow every fucking stage play that's going on in Dublin right now. Like, I don't know, because Reggie Walsh would never know about that. She only knows about, like, short put, long jumps, and all this stuff that she would do for the Olympics. And I took that really seriously and wanted Reggie Walsh and Glow to have beginner's mind. So if you watch Glow on Netflix just now, it is very raw and it feels 80s, and it's made by women, and Genji Cohen literally is the reason why I got that job. I mean, Tara Polka is also the reason why I got that job, because I was, like, living in the studio apartment with my sister, my niece, and, like, we had all these foster puppies this one summer in LA. And I had said to Jen Houston the casting director on Twitter, like in a Twitter message. I was like, yo, I know that I was in, because she actually had me be in Girls, because Lena asked me directly to be in Girls, but Jen was the casting director. So like Jen used to know of me and had known me from New York as well. So then when I was tweeting her, I said, yo man, like I know we just did Girls together, but I'm wondering if there's, because she also did Orange is the New Black, and I was like, yo, I want to work with Genji Cohen. And I had written in my diary, I want to work with Genji Cohen. I want to be like laughing at the monitor on a job that's a Genji Cohen TV show that I have, that I know that I just did a good scene in, and I'm gonna be laughing at the monitor with like all these ladies. And I had this vision of like manifesting that, and it was weird because I like didn't have a job and was living in a tiny studio place and was like fostering dogs and like didn't have fuck all going on at that time. I mean, I had just done Girls TV show, which came out of the fucking sky for me, but I also felt like I needed to take this big step. And the big step in manifestation, like you don't know what you're gonna do. And I was thinking about Charles Durney, and I was thinking about Betty White, and thinking about these like long haul, like Sam Shepard, these long term, just real like directors, writers and actresses, and like what they do, how it is for them every day, you know, like it's not a cakewalk, it's not a paradise. Day to day it's like up and down, and we all feel that sense of like, fuck man, where's the next job coming from all the time? But you have to like suck it up and just believe in yourself and like propel yourself into your own future and go like, okay, I'm just gonna put myself there today and do something today that feels that quality of I've already got the job. Which is why when I hire actors, I just say, you've already got the job. I don't need you to audition for me. Like, don't send a fucking tape, because I think tapes are disgusting. I mean, if you're a fucking Marvel guy and you want me to do your Marvel film, I'll send you tape. But like, I don't want to do it unless it's, like, I don't want to make other people do it. You know what I mean? Like, I know the thousands of actors that I've worked with before. I've seen them on stage 25 times. I love them. I'm not trying to say, can you do this part? Like, I don't know if you can do this part, you know, so fucking put yourself on tape for me. Like, I think it's elegance leaves the room and like dignity leaves the room a wee bit. And it's also like, mate, I don't know, it's like saying that you want to get one sentence from someone when you're trying to read a play or a novel. It's like, I don't care about whatever the fuck the one sentence is. Like, I need to read the novel of knowing the person I've already like known them, or if I've seen someone do something. Alex Pettyfer, I hadn't met him, but I'd seen him do like 25 fucking different things, and I knew he was fucking genius, capable, a director himself, where he made this film. It's the first thing Alex directed. It's so good, and it's a film about incest between a brother and a sister. And like, if you want to talk about performances, I was like, this is next level good. And I don't even like that. Nobody likes that subject matter. But in Alex Pettyfer's hands on that girl who's the actress with him, you're like, oh my God, they're such good actors. And you feel the quality of what they've done is so tragic, is so deep and hard, impossible to deal with, that subject matter. And then to do it with such elegance and grace and bring like a reality to it, which is like, you know what, people do have that going on in their lives. Someone has been exposed to that, so how would you deal with it, you know? And the quality of being at art camp with Bryce Howard back in the day when I think we were all 21. I think I was 21. It was before Good Dick, so I must have been 19. Guys, what year was art camp? I can't remember, but I do remember that we ate a lot of raw food that I loved. And Josh Gad, this was in Connecticut, Josh Gad fucking hated it. He called it fat camp. He was like ordering out pizza and stuff. He was trying to get like pizza ordered into Connecticut, being like, this is so difficult to deal with. And I fucking loved it. I was like, I love the raw food. I love these meetings we're having, talking about art. We talked about, it was me, Jeremy Strong, Catherine Waterston, Bryce Howard, Seth Gable. Bryce's twin sisters were there like giving us stuff. They would give us snacks. And we'd be like in the middle of these intense conversations. Bryce asked us what our biggest triumph was, what our biggest failures were as actors. And I was like, this is so difficult to deal with, you know? And that is the place, like in Connecticut at Bryce's house, that's where I said I wanted to be a director for the first time. I know that David Laveau had like spotted the director in me when I was a child or whatever. I think I was definitely 18 or something, or must have been 18 or 19 when I knew him in London, and he had said that to me, that I was going to be a director, even though I had just been an actress, an onstage actress. And then he said that to me. So I think it just came out of this place of possibility, and that was what was wild about it. It felt like I could do something that was that audacious, artistically and creatively. And also Bryce had directed before, so it wasn't like out of fucking nowhere, you know what I mean? Like I was like, I can see that Bryce is so good at directing, and she would be pregnant. Every time she fucking directed me, she was pregnant. And I was like, mate, this is so funny. Because we did Orchid, I realized that was my first, I think it was my first anything to do with film or TV. Like the first time I was in film or TV, Bryce was directing me. And it was me and Seth Gable, and Catherine was in it, Catherine Waterston and Alfred Molina. And I remember being like, these folks are people I would go to heaven with in a shuttle, like take me to heaven in a rocket now. It's like my life is fine. Like I will die now, I'm happy. But I remember the thing that happens to stage actors, like when you are doing something that's a movie suddenly or a TV show suddenly, it's intense and you feel different and it's very surreal and it's not a stage play. So you go home and you're like, oh my God, I didn't have to do that much. You're like, wait, so I just get to do it one time when I go home? Like, you're like, it's not the 8-month run, you know, it's not this like 8 shows a week. You don't have to do the stage life of it. So my God, it's like this gift from heaven for a stage actor. It's like probably how Jean-Luc Picard, it's how Patrick Stewart felt, you know what I mean, after he had been a darling of the RSC for decades. And then they're like, you want to be Captain Picard in this TV show that probably no one's going to see? Don't worry, no one's going to see it. Like his agents told him that no one was going to see Star Trek because his agents in England were like, no one's going to watch it. It's going to be, you can't like remake a classic. Like his agents in London didn't know what they were talking about. Like they didn't understand that it was going to be the next thing that's like, that was probably the most incredible thing and the greatest thing that happened to the franchise and all this. It was like, oh my God. So anyway, the fact that they got a Shakespeare actor from England to prove that Star Trek could go on and be something unique and special, I think is the reason why they could then do 1,000 other versions of it. Because if Picard, you know, if Patrick Stewart could make it work, anyone can do it. Or he like blazed a trail. So you go, wow, that was good. And that feeling of a darling of the theatre turning into a darling of the screen, I love that so much. And the quality of work and the idea that you can actually do something that feels as good as, you know, when I was Garlene for the Actors Gang, oh God, what great theatre in LA, my God. I played Garlene on the stage. Oh, that was like such a good job. And oh my God, it was so cool. I loved doing the accent and I love falling in love with my priest. Like that is so up my alley. Garlene falls in love with her priest and then he doesn't love her back and then she kills herself. And you're like, this is so classic. And the figurines that are in that, there's so many, like thousands of these figurines we went through. We actually smash on the stage thousands of figurines and you want it to be in a small theatre, so you want the audience to feel like it's Martin McDonagh's play, so you want it to feel like the audience that's sitting there could get, you know, hit with it, because it is that level of vibrant theatre, you know, where it felt very punk rock for us. And I also would say a prayer, because I was so Catholic. I was like, say a prayer for all those figurines. Like, we're doing it for the art of it. It's not because we're trying to destroy God or anything. Like, we love Mary Magdalene, and we love Mary, Mother of God, please Jesus. So I always remember being like, I think this play's going well, because we got such good reviews and stuff. And I thought it went really well because I was praying the whole fucking time. I had a rosary like in my knickers that whole show. And I think I can't remember what I was wearing, but I think I had some kind of cool outfit on. But I probably wasn't a kilt, but I remember like I had Doc Martens or something. I had something cool about my outfit, and it felt appropriate to the character. And Martin McDonagh would have been happy as fuck, because our actors gang at the time was, and still is, so happening. But I also could do these plays, New York, LA. So then when I got Glow, it felt like I had this stamp. It felt like we all got our Golden Girls series. Like, it felt like we could put our mark on the stage. Like, I had done, excuse me for wobbling my table again. My legs are so strong. I had done Good Dick, then I'm the Same, which is about Scottish independence, and makes a lot of points about what that means. And also Always Worthy, and then all these, I've done so many films where I'm like, oh, I got to do Always Worthy with Amberly, and brag about it and be excited about it and go, oh my god, like, what joy. We did Scottish Muscle and Ned's, where I was acting in that, and then I also felt like, oh my god, I was in Restive. I was in a lot of these really good films, feature films, and then I also had Girls' TV show Glow, and then whilst I was doing Glow, I did Bitch, that I directed, that Jamie King was in playing my sister, and oh my god, like, Martin Starr's mum's in it. She's so good. If you want to like see someone be killer actress, you're like, this performance, like the performances in Bitch, we're happy about. Those all went to Sundance, touch wood, and I had this thing where Bitch happened so quickly, and then because of Bitch, I was in a thing of going around the world again, and then felt like it was going to all these film festivals. And when I did Happy TV Show, I got to be in New York again for, you know, a Universal Studios, like a studio TV show. And I was doing that the same year that I did Glow season 3, I believe. And then it was going to be Glow season 4. And whilst that was happening, I also got asked to do, for some reason I was in Scotland. I think I just got a flat in Scotland or something, and I was like doing it up, and I was asked to do, yeah, that's what happened. I was asked to do Love, Danielle, and I had just seen Bennett's War on Netflix, and I had cried and cried and cried, because everyone cries at that film, but I love that performance. Like, Michael Rourke's performance is so good in it, and I cried because I felt like the scene where he's laughing with the child, you could make a choice where the guy comes back and he's got PTSD, so you could be like, yo, he doesn't necessarily smile at his kid, because if you haven't seen a toddler and you've been in a war zone, who's to say, like, whatever, like, you could do whatever you want in that moment because it's justified by the PTSD. But the fact that he smiled at his kid, because kids are funny, like, no matter what, like, even if you just come back from a war and that's your son and you haven't seen him, like, he's gonna make you laugh, you know. And the scene where he just is laughing with his son, I was like, give him a fucking gold medal, give him an Oscar. Like, that is such a good performance. And I told Michael Rourke, I had to, like, I don't know if I FaceTimed him or Zoomed him, but I was video chatting with him, and I was like, yo, mate, listen, I need you to know this is best performance, hands down. These are the reasons why I love it. And also, I really appreciated in the writing when a woman is smart is so much better, because then you think, oh, there's a reason why they got together. You know what I mean? Like, it's Benedict and Beatrice, you know, it's not like Benedict has to stand on the stage and talk to someone who doesn't have the intelligence or the IQ or the sense of humor. It's like, no, if a woman has all those things that are, she's intelligent, she's got a sense of humor, she's all the things, and it's very sparky, it's much more interesting if, for example, the character, you know what I mean? Like if he's like a racer and he's doing all this like dirt baking, if she's really good at that, or she happens to like care about it or be informed about it in a way that's helpful to him, and it's not just like she's standing in all the scenes with him going, hi, I don't have any lines because nobody wrote them for me. Like there's a lot of female roles where you go, why are they there? Like give her a line, give her a couple things to say, or like, I don't know, man, like improv some shit if you're standing there and you don't have a script. Like I am upset a lot of the time. There was a lot of female roles that got left behind in the wind for decades before this. So now you go, hey, you know what? Guys can actually write for women and women can write for themselves. So give her fucking smarts and something to say, but it's so much more dynamic, and people are like, that's real life, like that's my mom and dad, or that's my uncle and his wife, or that's like this couple that we know who have never got married, but they're always like, it's like Al Pacino and Diane Keaton. Those are two people that should have been together. They were together. She was doing more jobs than him. He was unemployed. There was a part of time where Al Pacino had no money. He was bankrupt. Like, there's a time where he had like put his own money into stuff and ended up being like, I'm just such an artist that I don't have any money. And Diane Keaton was like, you might want to like do a job or something. You know? Get a paycheck again, Al. Pacino, they'll probably hire you, Al Pacino. But, you know, there was this thing where if you go back to that time where they were just sitting at her flat together or her apartment together, she's sitting there like, I'm making all the money, man. You know, like, it's fine. It doesn't really matter that much, but probably someone's going to employ you. But there was a lot of, like, dynamics that are happening in their life at that time where you can't account for, you know, the history's already passed and he's Al Pacino now. You know what I mean? Like, and she's Diane Keaton, and you can look back and go, wow, you know, they did these lives. They had these careers. It's like, well, if you go back in time, they didn't know that was going to happen. So you understand why they didn't ever get together, but for real, they were together in every other way. And he has said that he should have married her. And I feel that. Like, I'm like, yeah, like he should have married her. Like, if you're Al Pacino and you're already with Diane Keaton, fucking put that ring on her. Like, get the ring and fucking have a party. Invite your mates. Get your mummy down. Get her granny over from wherever the fuck they're coming from. Everyone needs to come to the wedding. Everybody's getting hats. Everyone's getting heels on. Get the fucking mani-pedis. Like, hire the caterer. Someone plan the fucking wedding. Get a wedding planner in and get this shit together, because Al Pacino's gonna fucking marry Diane Keaton. Like, it should have happened in the past so many times. And for whatever reason, like, anytime they had interviews, if you ever hear him talk about her, you ever hear her talk about him, it's like this thing of like, the one that got away, like they should have made an honest woman and an honest man out of each other. Like, come on. I would have liked to have seen that wedding. And you want to hear him say vows and shit. Like, you want him to be a fucking groom. Like, she should have been a bride. Like, you want them in real life to do this shit, because if you are having 1,000 films where you're the bride, but then in real life, like, Al Pacino will never marry you, and like, if you're Al and you happen to like be the king again, or you're like playing Richard fucking the third again, you're like, I get it, but also I want to be somebody's groom in real life where you know, I love her and she's my life's love. Like, that is what you want to pin down. And what happens to us sometimes in the film industry and in other industries, if you're like fucking CEO of something, if you're the boss or you're the captain of a ship, sometimes you forget. So like Captain Picard forgot to have the kids. Like, he had lovers and shit, but he didn't remember to have a son or a daughter that he could raise and be like, yo, this is my child. Until, if you watch Picard, maybe some of that shit will get answered for you. But you want to go, nail the shit down, get the fucking rings on it, make an honest man or woman. It's a wifey for lifey vibe. All these cunts are made of marriage material. Like, we're all made of marriage material. The reason why we do all the shit that we do is because You want to have that deep love with someone. You want to have that connection where 1 + 1 = infinity, and we know it can happen. We've seen it happen a million times, and it's not just romantic. People don't just write shit about this. People don't just write novels or stories or narratives about men and women falling in love with each other for no reason. It's because it's happened since the beginning of time, and I am into it. I just think that there's a lot of times where you can go, I'm being distracted because I do have a gallery show of my own paintings and I'm going to the opening night. It's like, yeah, mate, but like, who's on your arm for that shit? Like, who's taking you to the premiere? Like, it doesn't matter. Who's your +1? Like, my thing is always like, who's the +1 and are they worthy of you? Like, bring them. Like, bring it. Like, the +1 deserves to have, what the fuck's his name? Like, Percy something. Joan Collins, I don't know how many marriages she had, but she had to go through like 55 duds to get to Percy because he is the dude for her. And I'm like excited that not only does he assist in her career, he's basically like her hype person, but also probably a fan. Like, I'm like, I kind of like that she's with someone like that because she deserves to be with someone who understands what she was doing in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. You know what I mean? Who can appreciate her for the decades she's been through. I go, yeah, look, these ladies and these men all deserve to have someone who is correct for them and like matches their vibe. And I get really excited about it, and I feel like everyone should have a wedding. We should go to weddings every weekend. That's why when I was doing the Sundance Award show, like, it was, I can't remember what year it was, but it wasn't that long ago. It was very recently that I did the Sundance Award ceremony, and I hosted the whole fucking thing. And I had been at every award ceremony because I was there as a filmmaker as a child, and then also as an embryo, and then also as a first-time filmmaker. You're sitting there going, oh, so if you are a first-time film director and you're sitting here, just know, and this was being televised to the nation, and I was like, internationally, I was like, by the way, if you are a first-time filmmaker and you don't win tonight, you're not a winner tonight. You clap anyway because you clap for the person who won, because we're all going to party after. So you can have that spirit of like, we're all in this together. And there had been a lot of people who had hosted the award show for Sundance before this, and they were really like negative Nancy's, dark shadow sides of life, where you go, is that actually comedy or are you just complaining? Because there's a way to do comedy that's like dark, the shadow side of life, and it's funny, but that's not what they were doing. They were just complaining, just like being negative and thinking that was going to be funny, and it like doesn't make anyone laugh. It just makes us feel uncomfortable. They'd be like, yes, everyone just comes to Sundance to get sick. And I was looking at all these people in the years before I had done the show as a host for the Sundance Award show, and I was like, what? And they were saying that there shouldn't, like, why were there sponsors in the front row? And I was like, because the fucking sponsors is the reason you're standing here. The sponsors are here to support independent film. Like, I give them a medal. I'll be their best friend. Like, I love people like that. I'm going to collaborate with those people, because if they support film with a checkbook, that's amazing. Like, that's a fucking miracle, and I respect them. I'm not going to exclude them because they're not artists or something, or think they're stupid because they're the money people or something. It's like, mate, you wouldn't even get to walk out your front door if somebody didn't finance it. Like, I was so pissed off. They said something like, why is there all these adverts for things on Main Street? And I was like, because fucking this is a film festival and people put their posters up. Like, get a fucking real job, man. Like, what are you talking about? And I also felt like it just felt really negative. It was like, why are we all here? It's so boring or something. And I was like, no, we're happy to fucking be here. And I like raised the energy of the whole room. And I felt like with my opening speech, with my award show for Sundance, I was wearing an all gold dress. Like, you couldn't stop me. I was like, yo, people are here from different countries. Like, we have international cinema. We have shorts, we've got docs, we've got everything. We've got every category. And I said, somebody's going to be ovulating tonight. People are going to have sex. We're going to have like, the shorts category are going to have sex with documentaries, and like narrative and docs are going to have sex. Someone's ovulating and they're going to have a cinema baby. And that person's going to grow up to be a director, and they're going to hire me when I'm a geriatric to do their fucking first film, and it's going to come to Sundance, and I'm going to go, thank you guys. And I'll feel like that was because of my like high vibing the situation. And I also said that if you don't know what to do to help women right now, start building lesbian bars in every city of this country, because there's no fucking lesbian bars anywhere. Like, tell me where the lesbian bars in Los Angeles are. There is West Hollywood in LA where you can be like, this is where all the gay men go, and it's a zip code. There's 1,000 bars, there's 1,000 clubs for gay men in LA. And in every city in the world, you could be like, except Singapore, you can say, look at all the gay bars for men. But where's the lesbian bars like that? Like, we need a zip code of lesbian bars for the lesbians. And until that happens, keep building it. Like, if you're a straight white man, you don't know what to do, go to the area and say, this is the lesbian area. We're building them the fucking bars, and they're all going to come. Call it whatever you want. Call it, like, lip service infinity or something like that. Call it the L word max or something like cool like that, where you go, oh, these are like TV shows or films where ladies were lesbians before. Call it Lesbos, the island in Greece, but like make it a lesbian bar. Call it Vagination, you know? Call it Squirtsville. Just go to that place and be like, this is Dildo Land Bar, and you can go to this club that's called, you know, we never shaved it in the first place, or something like that. Like a sentence that's like, oh, call it Bush, but the real Bush, not the president and not nature, but like the actual Bush. Call it like whatever you want, but come up with names for lesbian bars. Mummy's Angels, that's a good name for a lesbian club. Just have a feel where you go, this is the lesbian bar that you have planned your whole life in your head, because like there's an issue in the society if there's no lesbian bars. Because I remember people being like, so the one lesbian bar that was in New York is closed now. Like, my lesbian friends are like, so we don't even have a bar? Like, give them one bar. Give them one lesbian bar, guys. Like, start with one lesbian bar, and then above it make a lesbian club, or below it make a lesbian club. Like, that's a good place to start. But I made so many jokes about that in my Sundance speech, that the other thing I said that actually is a class joke that people always remind me of, and it was a classic. I said I wrote all this shit myself, by the way, because I thought that we needed this. America needed to hear it. I said that, so I said that justified camera movement. Yeah, this is so good. This is how I feel. This is why I want to be like written in my fucking gravestone. Justified camera movement is the same as going down on someone. Facts. And also, everyone started laughing at that. Even the people who were getting, like the Korean filmmakers who were getting a translation, Polish filmmakers were getting a translation, they laughed as well, and they were like high-fiving and being like, that's funny, because justified camera movement is the same as going down on someone, and it's a generous thing to do. And also, if you have the camera like following someone's every movement, that feeling of like listening, directors and cinematographers, all we fucking do is like listen with the camera and like follow everyone around. So like when there's movement that we've created, yes, we've choreographed this actor moving in the space, but you follow them around. So if they stop, like this finger with the, what do you call that color? Orange. That's the lead actor. So if you're the camera and you follow them around, they can go like that, and you follow them wherever they move. And when they stop, you stop. When they move again, you move. When they stop, it's the same thing. So you're already like moving with them. It's like Japanese or Chinese movement on the stage, where you can feel behind you the actor that's on the stage with you. You don't have to go, oh, there's an actor there. Like, you know, because you can feel it. There's this feeling of not just anticipation, but like uber listening. But the thing about justified camera movement is, yeah, they can move and you're still, the camera can be still and the actor can move, that the film's about. But, you know, you can't go like this, because that's not cinema. You can't move your camera around an actor that's not moving, because that's not cinema. Maybe that's an advert, maybe that's a documentary, maybe. But even in documentaries, they use justified camera movement because they know what the fuck they're doing. And the other thing is, the film could be about a family and you follow them all around, or when they split off, you follow them individually, and that's fine because the film's about a family. Like, Bitch is about a whole family. It's not just about a mum who's a bitch. A mum who becomes a dog. The other thing is, after I did that award show, people felt like, wow, you know, it felt like people had a great time. And John Cooper was like, Mariana, you really like brought the vibe, raised the energy, and everyone had a great night. People didn't want to leave. People actually partied at that last day of Sundance in a way that felt like they didn't want to get back on their planes to go home. Nobody wanted to leave because we had made it so fun. And I felt the same way. And I think what had happened is at the end of the night, I had jumped on the stage to get something. So I had this like footprint on my face. And people were hugging me and I was taking pictures and I was like, that's not makeup. Like, there's like a fucking footprint on my face. And it was because we were in this like air hangar or something. Like, it was, the stage was like so, like a movable thing. It's not like a stage in New York or something where you're like, or in London where you're like, or the Citizens where you're like, that's a theatre and the stage is going to be clean because people have fucking wiped that theatre stage down. And we all wipe it ourselves or something, because it was very much not a theatre stage. It was a stage for the movable Sundance Award ceremony where they put like wherever the fuck in Utah, and it wasn't something that felt clean for no reason or like clean just randomly. So I was really shocked. If you look at some of the pictures of me at the end, it's like this big footprint on my face. Just a funny homage to like being a Sundance queen, but also being a Glasgow queen and a Scottish queen and coming back to Glasgow and going, okay, here we go. This is it. I also had this thing where you have this moment where you're like channeling and you think to yourself, what am I going to do next? So part of this story was to say how I did love Danielle, because I had just told you guys about watching Bennett's War and crying about Michael Rourke's performance and having to tell him like face to face basically. Even though I was still in Scotland at that time. I watched Bennett's War in Scotland. I watched it in Glasgow, I think. But then I watched it like 1,000 times in my California house because I definitely, it was on my it's still on my next Netflix queue being like, I liked this. Like, I want to be like Ted Sarandos. Look at my Netflix queue because it's fucking primo shit. It's really good. My list on Netflix is so good. It's so good. Without Saying Goodbye is also a really good, just like a rom-com that is our dream rom-com that you go, wait, they shot this in Peru and it's this good. Love it. Anyway, there's a quality to the acting right now that I'm so grateful for, where you salivate inside your mouth and you go, oh my God, look at those combinations of people together, and they're bringing these new dynamics where you feel like the gumption of the characters. This is what you really like about 1930s and 1940s cinema in the States, and 1970s, where you can go, those chicks had characters. You don't have to go back to Mary Pickford to go, they had gumption. They had like strength and pizzazz and qualities that where they could lead a team or they could run the show. And it wasn't a question of like, wait, why is she doing that, you know? And the men who like women like that, I always appreciate men who like women naturally, but who like strong women. I like men who like strong women. And the more we can do films, if you look at all my films, that's what they are, you could say. They're these like deep collaborations where like the males and the females are linked intellectually, they're stimulating each other with jokes, but also it's not just funny, it's funny because it's smart, but it's also emotionally intelligent, and I've been fucking doing that my whole life. But also, I just based it on people that I know in real life, and that gives me so much spirit and heart, and I get so into it. The other thing is going back to Love Danielle. So I'm like sitting in my house, sitting in my flat, I think in Glasgow, and I was here, I don't know why I was here for something. I think I was here to get this new flat, and I was phoned or emailed by Devin. I think she just emailed me, and we FaceTimed, and I remember being like, she told me her whole story, and the last time I had done something that someone else wrote was Collection, but I also got to like be very much a part of that and act in it too. But the time before I did that, someone else wrote was Tallulah Riley, when we did Scottish Muscle. And before that, because everything else I've ever done, I wrote the shit that I'm directing, that I'm acting in. But the first time I ever did something that I hadn't written was Amberly for Always Worthy, my best friend. So Amberly Coulson was like my best friend that I collaborated with, and I felt really good about that. I loved the Tallulah Riley vibe, doing Scottish Muscle with her, where I produced it and I got to play Fiona. All those things felt like good collaborations, but I knew them. We became very, Amberly I'm like blood best pals with before I said yes to that, doing that. And then with Tallulah, it was a really good thing where she met me because she had a fucking dinner in my honor in her house in Bel Air that was also Elon Musk's house. And I was going, okay, yeah, I will do this job, because she told me all this stuff about, not only did she show me the vision board of my picture, like me and my mom and all this stuff on her wall, I was like, yeah, I will do this job. But it felt so good to know that I was going to collaborate on something Scottish with her. That was so easy to say yes to, because I could feel Tallulah's love for Scotland. And then we became like best mates. And also with Devin, when she told me her story, it felt like we were working with a charity to do the film, and also it felt like if I said yes to it, it felt like this other level of healing for Devin. It felt like if I said yes, I would heal her. I'm gonna cry. It felt like I was gonna heal her, or help to heal her, woman to woman, human to human, body to body. It felt like I would be doing the right thing by saying yes to do this film that's obviously about her, her personal life, her personal health journey. And it felt like a big mix of what I had done on Lion's Mouth Opens to Myself with Lucy Walker as well. So it felt very good. And I started crying recently, just acknowledging that fact, that the reason I said yes was because it was basically like Devin being like, will you do a mass healing with me through this film? And I was like, yeah, I will do a mass healing with you for this film. And also I had loved the idea of finding an actor who would be solid as a rock. Like Pat in that film, character is based on her real life husband. And I was like, yo, that guy is a rock. Like, if you wonder who's an anchor in this world, who is a stone that is the rockiest rock there is, like the steadiest guy on the planet in real life is Devin's husband. Because you go, he went through so much, he went through a lot, he went through more. In a way, he went through more. Because you're like, it's so difficult when someone's ill or potentially ill, and you're married to them, and you have to be like their hype person still and be there on the dark days. It's like people who have really seen illness close up really know what they're talking about when they say, till death do us part, in sickness and in health. When you're saying those vows, this is not like cheap writing. It's like really deep, connected, correct dialogue that we're supposed to say when we get married to each other, because there's a point, like, God has a point, or if you're an atheist, you have a point to your soul or your spiritual life or your health in that moment. Like, just psychologically, if you think about it from a psychological point of view, it's saying, I will be here in the dark days. I'll be here if you get sick. Like, I'll be here if you go from standing to being in a wheelchair to being dead. Like, I will still devote my life to you. Like, I'm still devoted. So I'm here I'm not just a fair weather friend. And I love that thing that is in our film Love, Danielle, because it's based on her real life. And you think as well that I was like, I really want to work with Michael Rourke. So I asked him to read it, and he said yes to working with me, and we wanted to collaborate. And I was excited to play Misty. And I had a pregnancy belly in that film. If you watch it, that is not a real pregnancy belly. I had a fake pregnancy belly the whole time I was directing. I had to wear that pregnancy belly like half the time I was directing. And also, I just loved so much about that process. I loved my script supervisor on that one. I was like, oh, hello. I always love them. They're always so good, but the director and the script supervisor have like a connection at the monitor that feels so much like siblings or comrades in arms, where you just go, oh, like we're loyal to each other's cores. And it's nice to feel that level of refined qualities of work, because I also got Jamie King to play the character. I knew that was the only person in the fucking world who could play that character was Jamie King. So yeah, the sister who has the cancer, I asked Jamie to do it, and she was like, anything for you. Like, anything for you. And I was like, yeah, we'll do it. We'll have fun. And it was really great because I got to work with Leslie Ann Warren, and she was so good. Like, it was so incredible. We got to play their history of the marriage and that relationship. And you go, their father's character. I said he had to have this film that he had done where he was an electric horseman, because I was basing that. This was a long time. This was years before my friend Robert Redford died, but because my bestie, Robert Redford, had raised me in cinema, I felt like I wanted to honour, the fact that he's the reason my career happened, because he put me in Sundance as a child, and just fucking guided me so much. So I always loved The Electric Horseman. Like, a lot of people love his other films. I love all his other films. I love All the President's Men. I could watch that on a loop. You know what I mean? Like, I love the dialogue. I love the way it's shot. I love the direction. I love everything about that film. But Electric Horseman feels like the romance that he was, the swagger, the charisma. And to be a cowboy that's got like electrical, like a rig of fairy lights on him, that's so cinematic. Jane Fonda's an Electric Horseman. You're like, wait, this is the best film in all of fucking America. Like, I love it. They get together at the end and it's just pleasing. It's a hard life for them, but you don't feel like it's a real raw life, but you don't feel like, oh, they weren't there for each other. Like, they were there for each other. And I like that eros quality in what we're doing, where you go, it's like as if we did Romeo and Juliet, but they don't die at the end. Like, you just go, oh, let them live. Like, why do we have to fucking kill our mums and dads over and over again? Like, the great mother gets to live, the great father gets to live. We don't have to kill them off. They're happy. Do you know what? They moved to fucking Bearsden and they live until their dying day. Maybe they moved to Finnieston, Glasgow, or maybe they moved to, Morningside in fucking Edinburgh. I don't know. They moved to somewhere nice, Hackney in London, somewhere basic. Islington in London, where you go, they could live their lives. North London forever, man. You could live your life there. If you love someone, you could live your life there for the rest of the time and be happy as fuck. So that idea that you can actually have the Electric Horseman in your real life is what I put in Love, Danielle visually. If you look at it, the poster for the dad's film, because the dad's a really famous actor, and I designed that poster so that it would be an honorary homage to that era and that quality of Redford, and what it really meant to be everyone's dream cowboy with the lights on, And it kind of makes me think of the Bright Eyes song, where like the people, like they've got stars in their eyes and they're looking up at me. The starving eyes to see. And I hang like a star, fucking glow in the dark for all the starving eyes to see. It's one of his songs, and I can't even remember the name of it. Now and again, it seems worse than it is, but mostly the view is accurate. You see your breath in the air as you climb up the stairs to that coffin you call your apartment, and you sink in your chair, brush the snow from your hair, and drink the cold away. And you're not really sure what you're doing this for, but you need something to fill up the day. A few more hours. There's a dream in my brain that just won't go away. It's been stuck there since it came a few nights ago. And I'm standing on a bridge in the town where I lived as a kid with my mom and my brother. And then the bridge disappears, and I'm standing on air with nothing holding me. And I hang like a star, fucking glow in the dark for all the starving eyes to see. Like the ones we've wished on, now I'm confused. Is this death really you? Do these dreams have any meaning? No, I think it's more like a ghost that's been following us both. Something vague that we're not seeing. Something more like a feeling. It's called Something Vague. But that's the line where he's saying, I always thought it was about like his fame. Conor Oberst had this epic fucking career where you could say he is like Kurt Cobain if Kurt Cobain lived. You could say that he's as poetic as Bob Dylan for America. His lyrics are so good, but you think Something Vague is about the Tower of Song for Leonard Cohen, where you go, it's about being famous. He's like, in the Tower of Song, Leonard Cohen says, Hank Williams, I'm asking Hank Williams about fame, but he hasn't answered yet. I'm trying to get the answer of Hank Williams, but he hasn't answered me yet because it's difficult to answer questions about fame. But this idea in Glow, not in Glow, but this glowing idea, or on lights, this idea that on fire or in electricity, there's this light where the starving eyes look up at you and they see you and they need you because they are your fans and they need you. So this idea that you're just a cowboy, but then for Redford, he turned on that fire, he turned on the lights, he turned on the fairy lights on his own shirt, and suddenly it's cinematic. His blue eyes hit off the fairy lights, and you can see the fairy lights in his blue eyes, and you go, ding-a-ling, Electric Horseman is cinema. And then you go, he's taking us somewhere with the light of his fame that is warm and true and feels, it's not just Jesus, but it's like when Jesus married Mary Magdalene and they had 12 kids and he was a good husband, you know what I mean? And he took her up a shout and he put the fucking toilet seat down and she gave him 1,000 blowjobs. Like, it's not a bad relationship. You go, sounds good to me, guys. Anyway, the idea that with the Electric Horseman, this idea of Eros is warmth, the ever-loving. It's from mythology. It goes back to like before any of us were even, like we were amoebas, we weren't even human beings, and they still had mythology on cave drawings about Eros being like, this is the everlasting light of love, and the that doesn't ever go out. It's the love that's never ending, and you can have that in Electric Horseman. You can have it in some of our films. In all my films, it's there, where you can go, it's a warm fire of love forever, and they've earned each other's love and respect, and now they can live together forever. And it's all, or they've been through the fucking wars together, or they've been through the dark times, and then they come out and they're happy and they're better for it. Like, they've shed a skin together and they're new people. And you feel like that sometimes, where you go, oh, it was a wee bit like that, where, you know, the dad in Bitch actually comes through and is there for her in the end, and you go, oh my God, like, she's gonna be okay because he's there for her now, so it's okay. And the dream of marriage, or the stuff that Cassavetes said about women, where he wouldn't say that someone was mentally ill or crazy, he would just say, you know what, like, maybe she's a real person and they have real feelings that are genuine, and they're not just like cookie cutter. It's actually a person with a soul, and let's make films about those people, who we really are and how it feels to be a person on this planet. And the idea with Love, Danielle, my most recent film, is Devin brought me this story that had really happened to her, and I hired actors around her that I felt like were quality, could bring that feeling of ever-loving devotion and a mass healing that we knew what we were doing was this mass healing. And I said, at the end, this chick has to, like, Danielle, the character, and Devin, the real-life human woman, have to, at the end, have the fairy lights of her own father. In the story, her dad is, like, a famous actor. And I was like, he needs to have the story, like, there's a poster that you see in the middle of Love, Danielle, and all through it, it's like her dad's poster, where it's like Pat, who is played by Michael Rourke. It's so funny. The dad's coming over, and he's not been over, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't come to their house, but he's coming for dinner. And Pat, who's married to, like, it's his father-in-law, and his father-in-law is, like, famous. And they have this poster of his dad's Devin/Danielle's dad's film from the 70s, his famous one. And I was like, it has to be based on the Electric Horseman. But they said, Mariana, we need a name for it. And they always say this to me. For collection, they were like, we need a name that we can get the rights to for this. In collection, they said, we need a name we can get the rights to for the strip club. And I said, Daddy's Angels will be available. Like, find out if Daddy's Angels is available. And they were like, Daddy's Angels is available. And I was like, it's Daddy's Angels. Like, you don't want a strip club to be called anything else. It was so funny, because that's like my brain at work. Like, knowing Gloria Steinem's work, knowing Betty Friedan, being like, yo, they would think this is what we should call it. Like, this is feminist approved. Like, Elijah Wood, who's a better feminist, he's like a more militant feminist than me, because I worked with him on Bitch, and I know this fact. He wanted my character to just say F you and leave at the end, and this is approved by him too. Like, it is Daddy's Angels. But they said to me, they came up to me when we were doing, I think it was like a variety number of producers have to get the rights to stuff, said, what is the name of, and production design, obviously, we're like, yo, what is the name of that poster? What's the name of the film? Because we need the name for the poster of, you know, Devin/Danielle's dad's fairy lights cowboy picture of him from the 70s. And I said, it can have one name, and it can have one name only. And they were all like, what is it? And I was like, Turned On Horseman. And that's what it is. That's what it is. Because he's turned on, he's turning himself on, he's going to turn us all on. He turned us all on in the 70s, he's going to keep turning us on. Like, there was this feeling to it that honoured Redford and the Electric Horseman. So, like, anyone who has seen American cinema can go, we get the reference. But also that it's more active for us now, where we can be like, let's turn each other on. And also, what would happen if you go from being totally shit scared of life and terrified you're going to die, to actually accepting your body, accepting your life, accepting that your husband's there for you, and he doesn't even have to do, like, he's literally been proving himself the whole film. So you go, okay, actually my husband's great, I'm great, we're fine, we're happy. So what happened to the character? She gets turned on, and she gets her own fucking set of fairy lights, and she becomes her own turned on horseman poster at the end. And that's what you see in the final film, in the final scene of Love, Danielle. You can go, and also that's what marriage feels like. When marriage is working and you're like firing each other's pistons and like everything's going and you're both flying and you've got like guns blazing, like everything's happening. You know, you're like, all your chakras are like fired because you're just like, this is so meant to be. This is my destiny. I'm meant to be in this relationship. Like, this is like my love language is to be in this marriage with you, and this is what we're supposed to do. And you're just feeling it, and it just feels good. That's what it feels like to be in that loving, warm, heavenly relationship, this paradise on earth that we all know the feeling of. And you go, it's not just Amberly Coulson at the end of Always Worthy becoming her own vision board, where I literally made Amberly, Vanessa, the DP, and I got Amberly to lie flat on the ground, and I got the whole crew. I think I even got the sound guy and the sound girl to be like, shove, like we're all shoving sequins on her face now. And if you look at Always Worthy, there's a scene where she becomes her own vision board and she gets all this, like I think she had like sequins in her face and up her nose and shit and in her mouth for days. I mean, for days she was like picking out of everything for days. But it was worth it because she became her own vision board, and you want to have that radicalization of the main character visually, so you can go, they journeyed through the visuals of the film. And you can say about Danielle's character, I mean the character Danielle played by Devin, you can go, she started scared, trembling, alone, that feeling of like being in a hospital and just being scared, like nobody's there for you and you're freaking the fuck out. And then from that, because you think you can die, from that to I trust everything, I'm all loving, I'm all the light, I have become my own Eros. I'm the Greek mythology. I am Greek mythology. I'm the goddess. Like, I am Botticelli's Venus coming out of the shell. Because I'm real and I'm here and I'm lit up. And maybe Robert Redford lit himself up, turned himself on with those lights in the 70s. And maybe that's why we had, our character of the father really homage his era. Because he's like an amazing actor. You're like, wow, he really did bring it as a character, and he brought that performance so well, and we felt that. So you feel that questioning of like, what is this character, what is Danielle / Devin's character meant to do, how's she going to get there? And visually we warmed her up from cold to bright warm lights, and this idea that they're in their backyard where they always are, the garden back in the back of your house, like you're always there, you're always going there, you sit there, sometimes you have wee fights there, but at the end of the film you get to go back and go, in the place where we have fought previously in this film, we're going to be here and we're going to stand together and we're going to love each other, and you're going to show and beam love to the whole fucking world. And yes, again, what happened to Redford is the lights lit up his whole blue-eyed face, and Devin, who is playing Danielle in our film, has this thing where she gets warmed up by these lights, and that is cinema. It's the healing light of cinema. It's the glow that we all are bathed in, and it's a mass healing, and we all get to watch that film and go, it was authentic, it was real, good performances, Jamie King's amazing in it, and you get to go, that's a satiating movie to watch just now. And love is such a powerful thing to put in a title. Like, Love Danielle means like love from Danielle, but it also is the love of this woman. And it's like a message to Pat, like, love Danielle, Plus, I forgot the most important part, which is that Michael Rourke got to do this thing where he got to wear a Scottish solitaire on his t-shirt and his chain. Obviously, I put every actor in any film I'm in, they all have gold chains, and Danielle is so golden. Like, you see her, Devin has so much gold in the whole film, because I was like, we do gold, we don't do silver in cinema, so welcome to the cinema language, but also my personal life. I put gold everywhere. And then we're adorned. So Michael Rourke is adorned. And if you don't watch it for any other reason, watch it for Michael Dorn having a kilt. And the idea is, oh my God, you could go 1,000 miles an hour and still not see somebody homage Scotland as well as that, because he's doing a Scottish accent really well. And you go, this is all, like, the boxes are all ticked for me. And Sean Connery is happy. Sean Connery's in his grave like this. He's happy. Like, we know you, Sean. We know what you wanted. We know what you asked me to do. Sean Connery asked me to not forget about Scotland in every film. And I was like, yo, I'll fucking squeeze Scotland in anywhere for you. But this was me squeezing in Glasgow specifically, a Glasgow accent specifically, which Michael Rourke delivers like a champion. And you should just see it, because it's like, there's a difference between people who are trying to do Scotland who aren't Scottish, people who are Scottish doing Scotland. Like, Michael Rourke was in the hands of a Glaswegian director, and you could go, there you go. Like, he also asked me really specifically to, this is why he's a good actor. He came out to me and he was like, I know that it's like a Scottish accent he's going to have on this one line, but like, I really want it to be specific to the type of Scottish accent that you want. And I was like, yeah, Glaswegian. And then he was like, yeah. And I said, I'll give you a voice memo. And I gave him a voice memo of me saying the line. And then he said it perfectly, like 1,000 times unsaid. And I was like, that's a fucking great actor. Like, he could do anything. And I love collaborating with actors where you can go, oh God, they can do any accent. I feel like that because I can do any accent. So you can watch Love, Danielle anywhere because it's available, and it's one of those ones where you go, is it for kids? I think on my other films, kids could watch it, but I don't know if Love, Danielle is for kids, because there's parts of it that are quite heavy. I mean, you could say that it could be a teenager's watch, but it's not like a kid's watch by any means. When they grow up, they can watch it, and it won all these awards. It's been really well reviewed. Bryce Howard, my bestie, posted about it on her Instagram. Because she was like, I think she was like, oh my fucking God, Mariana. And I knew that because that's like, I didn't even say to Bryce, like, hey, like, I did this film, it's coming out. So Bryce was like, another one, you know, like, she's like, oh my God, Mariana. Because I already had done like 15 or something in Bryce's brain, and now I'm more up to like the 20, more like in the 20 mark, 20 feature films as a director. I'm like hitting that mark closer. So I don't know why I've done like 1,000 films already. I don't know why. But they also got me to be a judge again in a film festival here in Scotland. So I'm going to do that. And I love watching these films. Love it. It's in November, so I'm going to be here. I think I'm going to wear some kind of whacked out high fashion dress. I don't even know what color scheme I'm going to have for the short film festival. Maybe this kind of color, like iridescent. I like a lot of sparkles in anything I'm doing, so there's something happening right now where it feels like we were talking about female empowerment, and everyone's always talking about like, where's the financing for this? What about AI technology? And I'm always like, don't have the fear-based conversations about this land, but let's all sit like as if we're having a fucking circular conversation around a fireplace, and we're all going to go sleep in our tents because this is nature, and let's have that perspective where you can see all the stars above the sky. So if you see all the stars in the universe, like, you don't have an ego and you don't have anything other than like a theater company vibe, because you understand how kind of insignificant what you're doing is. And that's what Shakespeare talked about. He's like, do not fucking paw the air too much. Like, don't get up yourself. Just keep it chill. Like, you can't have an ego on the stage. So this idea that, oh, here we are. And I think the other thing I saw is the clothes. I saw the first play in the Citizens' new stage, which was so beautiful. I saw the musical that was in the main stage, like in September, and it was like on all of September, and it's about the Lockerbie families, and I already talked about it on this channel, and I like had a homage to it because it was beautiful. But I also went to, because I knew two of the actors in it. I knew Yannick, who's in it, and I knew Katie, and I was going to this one weekend for the studio space at the Sits, which is the smaller space. And when I was a kid, the Citizens, I would go to the big space and the wee space all the time. So to go now after 7 years of it taking 7 years to open, and I also talked to the like the director, and I was like, yo, this is so good. But I also got to tell Yannick he was great, and I got to tell Kate, and I also talked to all the other actors and said they were great too. But it's about, the close is about this fact that before the Citizens was there, in a close down there in Govan, there used to be, like Bridge Street, there used to be a place called the Close Theatre that was literally in a close, in a tenement. So you're talking about the Citizens was based on this Close Theatre that was incredibly vibrant and popular and like made so much fucking money for the area at a time where like they needed it, you know what I mean? So it was also where all these incredible plays happened, like life-changing performances happened, and it's no joke. Tim Curry, this is crazy, but Tim Curry was doing a play at the Close, and he had the corset on, and everyone was like, there's Tim Curry in a corset, we love it. And Glasgow fucking loved him. And he would get a taxi. He would get what I get when I go to the Sits, which is a fucking Uber. Like, you stand outside and you get an Uber. You know what I mean? You're waiting for your Uber. So it's so wild that Tim Curry, like decades before this, is like pre his TV and film career, just like a stage actor, was in Glasgow with this fucking corset. And it was so radical because everyone was like, that's a man in a corset. And I know that like a lot of like stuff happened in Glasgow. Like I know that like the suffragettes were revered in Glasgow because I went to a school, Laurel Bank, where it was basically all suffragettes that started it. It started in 1903, and it was started so that women could have an education and that ladies could go to university. That is why that like entire school was started, Laurel Bank. The reason I went there, and when we were there, people told us that the suffragettes had created the whole thing, but it was started in an era where no cunt was sending any girl to school. Like there weren't any women in uni at that time. So it was like a joke to say we're starting a school for women to go to uni because women didn't go to uni. Women didn't even have the vote for ages, like for decades after that. So the idea that Miss Hannah Watson, who started the school, had this brainwave, was very brave and ballsy and crazy. And yes, okay, educate these chicks to go where exactly, you know? But it was funny that the idea of a corset as well is like the male gaze on the outside of a body. It's like you get crushed, your intellect is diminished, your body's diminished, you don't exist. You don't have a brain and you don't have a body and you can't breathe. So you don't have any ideas, and you cultivate this feeling of just being spaced out because you don't have an opinion on anything. When I had a corset, I really had a corset as well. After Tim Curry had a corset in Glasgow in the Close Theatre. And it was before he did Rocky Horror Picture Show. And actually, people said, everyone from Glasgow and everyone who saw the show was like, excuse me, in Rocky Horror, that corset is the one he wore in the Close stage show. And everyone knew it. So he literally took his costume from that Glasgow show, put it in Rocky Horror. And of course, Glasgow would be the earth, like the ground, like the muddy ground that is the birth and the seed of those performances that are the most raw in theatre and that are the most vibrant and that come up the most lush. And you're like, fucking hell, that bush is bright and colourful and it's so vibrant, like green. And you go, where the fuck did that come from? It's like, no, that's just made in Glasgow. Like, it is just like this lush, fertile ground for creatives everywhere. It's the same with Glasgow music. It's the same with Glasgow art, sculpture, design, textiles. You could say it about Glasgow, about everything. It's like, oh my God, it's all here. And this feeling that I had wearing a corset was shocking. Like, I was doing a film. James Franco said, Mariana, you're going to do this film because I loved A Rose for Emily because it's my fucking most punk rock William Faulkner short story. It's literally the most feminist shit that was ever written, and it was written by Faulkner before anything had happened in terms of like female punk rock or a female voice in anything, because literally the female before this was just anonymous in writing, or husbands took credit for shit because you couldn't like write anything with your name on it. So this idea that Faulkner wrote A Rose for Emily is saying, yo, this lady got cheated on, and what does she do? Everyone can fuck off because she kills the guy and keeps him in her house. Like, that's the story. Like, read it and weep, guys, because I read it and I was like, are you fucking joking? When did he write this? Like, if you wrote that right now, it would be the most punk rock shit anyone's ever written. Like, what? She kills him and she keeps him in her attic because she fancied him and he cheated on her. So what? Wait, he said he was going to marry her and then he didn't. He cheated on her and then she kills him and then she keeps his body a secret in her place and no cunt finds it until after she's dead. And people are like, there's like lemons next to the corpse. Like, she put weird shit next to it so it wouldn't smell bad. And you're like, guys, that is goth before goth happened. Like, get a fucking ticket and watch or read. Like, watch A Rose for Emily, our film, because James Franco plays the gentleman caller, and I play a Rose. I play Emily, and he, like, the Rose for Emily is really intense. So what the rose really is so beautiful. But you're like, wait. James Franco and I are walking around this, like, craftsman house in Los Angeles, in this area in LA where I've shot so many fucking times, I can't tell you. I mean, we shot Thomasina Sawyer there. We shot all this shit, anything that had to be back in the day, I shot in this, like, ancient place, which is so funny because it's the only part of Los Angeles that's, like, Victorian. And when I was with James Franco, we were saying all this fucking crazy shit. We were improvising all this, like, of the era, like, dialogue. So I was a Southern belle. So I was, obviously she's Southern. So he was saying all this stuff about, like, why are you so by yourself? Like, I know your father's passed away, but, like, you're so lonely, you know? And I was like, I'm not lonely. I just don't like anyone in this town. Like, I don't like my townspeople, you know? And I was saying in a Southern accent. Obviously, the whole time I was, like, immersed in the Southern accent. And that was making James laugh. Like, I was saying all this crazy shit because I knew what we had agreed to. Faulkner's A Rose for Emily is the most feminist, beautiful. It's always been, like, my favorite story. So when they asked me to do it, it was so funny because I think James Jennifer Howell knew that I could do a Mississippi accent, like, perfectly because she's from Mississippi. And when I was doing the Mississippi accent, doing A Rose for Emily, every cunt who was from Mississippi who was on set was, like, thinking I was from Mississippi. Like, it was not a question. So then all my jokes were in my Mississippi accent. All my improv lines were in my Mississippi accent with James Franco. And it was funnier. Like, you know how you can, like, if you're doing a Glasgow accent or a Southern accent, you get fucking more improv shit that's just funnier. And, like, I just remember as well that Carson Leota is so good in playing my child. She's playing, like, the younger version of me, but I was like, now she's my daughter, because anyone playing the younger version of me, I just feel like they're my kid forever. And I never stopped loving her performance in it. I just felt like connected to that whole journey. And Carson and her best friend Noreen were on the set, and we were talking while I would get my corset on, because it would take so fucking long to get that corset on. They would joke with me, and in our dressing room I would be like, yo guys, let's just chat. And then we were talking about The Notebook for like 1,000 hours behind the scenes. Like, if you wanted to know what we did on that film, A Rose for Emily, it took months and months to shoot it, I think, but all the days that we were there, I was just talking to those two kids about how much we all love Ryan Gosling. And The Notebook, we had every detail about The Notebook that we were sharing with each other. And they had these funny as hell stories in their friendship that were very similar to me and my best friend Sammy Mulgrew. Buckle my shoe. My best friend here, Sammy Mulgrew, is very shy. So I had all these like dreams and things and wishes that I wanted for the character, but as soon as you get the corset on, you're like, I don't care about anything. There was a sex scene that I had to do with James Franco, and I had to have a corset in my sex scene with James Franco, which is so, the irony of that is so annoying, but also like, I'm not a small person, like I'm tall as fuck, so I think we're the same height, I can't remember. Yeah, he's like 5'11". I think James Franco's the same height as me, because it was no small feat having to reset a female body that's in a corset every time you do the sex scene is like so hard. And you couldn't there was nothing about it that was easy. Like, he would be like, "Urgh!" Like trying to lift my body up, and I would be like, "Urgh!" Anytime anybody moved me, because the corset's so uncomfortable. It's like all your organs are being squeezed. And they would say stuff like, the director Kelly Pike was like, Mariana, I'm thinking in this next take of the sex scene, maybe we could do like, what do you think? And I was like, I actually don't care, Kelly, like I don't care. And I never say that. Like, I always have like 55 opinions, and especially in a sex scene, I'm gonna be like, this. Let's show women in this way, let's show the guys like this, like let's have this vibrant thing happen, like there's emotional connection, there's electricity. Like, I know it was like Victorian times, but let's make it electric in a subtler way, because maybe they can't do a snog like kiss, a tongue kiss, but they could do like 25 other things because that's of their era, and like, you know, that's more sensual. That's shit I could have said, but because I was just like in the corset, I didn't have a brain. You get like a lobotomized when you have a corset on, so you can't breathe, you don't have your breath, you don't have anything. Usually as an actor, you have your breath, you have your body, you have all this stuff. And for me, it was like this out of body experience where I was literally like not even there, because I was being moved around via the corset in this way that was so sad. And I remember thinking, no wonder they didn't get the vote for fucking ages, because they didn't fucking have any energy. Like, you'd have to take your corset off and then decide, I should breathe again. Okay, I can breathe. Wait, maybe we should get the vote. Maybe we do deserve the same pay as men. Maybe we should do all this shit. You know what I mean? Like, of course, it was a way to straddle or strangle or like dissuade them from any idea, any bravery or any concept of being human or having any breath on their voices, because you just like, you didn't have anything. So I remember that whole era and thinking, the corset is such a vibe. And maybe the corset's gone now, but some feminist recently was like, but it's not gone because it's been replaced by, we don't have equal pay. So it's outside us now. So what was a corset here inside our clothing is outside in society. So whatever it was that was the misogyny or the patriarchy is there, but it's just as strong, but it's outside the body now. So the corset still exists, it's just out there. And the fact that Tim Curry wore a corset in Glasgow at the Close Theatre is a thing I took away from that play that I just saw last weekend at the Sits in the small space in the studio. And I told Yannick, I gave like so much feedback because I was so excited about the young actors and pumped. Like, we chatted afterwards for such a depth of quality of show. Yeah. But the other thing I was going to say was, love Danielle is out. The Citizens is beautiful, and we have this vibrancy of this new stage. And you can say that is what we've been waiting for. Oh my God. And there's something really funny about having somebody who you've worked with a lot, like me and Jamie King, or me and Bryce Howard, and go, this is us doing our 25th thing. And you could say, oh shit, like, and you could see the ways we've worked together over and over and over again. And I was saying something about in this era where they all want to say, everyone wants to talk about like negativity or problems. They always want to say that. But to the artist, it's like, you know what? What we talk about is, how can we make better films? How can I be a more authentic actress now? Because time has gone by. So the older you get, the more real you get. The thing that happened when you were 17 that you were holding on to is gone. The thing you were pissed off about that was scaring you when you were 25 has disappeared. So none of that matters anymore. And like now, you know, when you were 30, maybe something dynamic was happening. It doesn't fucking matter, because now it's like so many years later, and how can we be better artists? If you're a painter, how can you be a better painter? When you talk about acting and directing and plays and storytelling like that, you don't have to talk about anything else. People want to chat about what's going to happen with AI technology or where people are going to get money from. It's like, I don't give a fuck about those things, but I do care about how do we do our 20th film, because we've done 18. So how do we do the next two? You know, like, that's more interesting to me. If you're a musician and you're on your 17th album or something, 25th album or something, what are you going to do to get to 26? What does that look like? Like that perspective of Leonard Cohen writing his 75th song, not his first song. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's something happens with a first-time filmmaker's film that's so special. Rumblefish. Think about Rumblefish. Think about Quentin Tarantino's first film. Think about, like, you know, if you want to say Mean Streets, if you really want to look at these real, like, quality films that were the masterwork for the first thing that an artist says as a filmmaker, and that they spell out into the world. Like, Good Dick was one thing, but obviously that was like 20 years ago. So almost 20 years ago. So what do you have to say if you're going to have, like Leonard Cohen had, albums almost into the hundreds, like 100 albums? What are you then? Like, what kind of artist are you then? So you're really talking about being in it for the long haul, pacing yourself, and focusing on the art, the work. And you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I don't know what the fuck's next. And I go to the play, and like, I went to SITS, and I'm like, oh yeah, those kids in theatre are going to be all right because they're doing well. So we're going to be like happy for them because they're all doing Glasgow accents and stuff. They don't have to be like, wait, can we please do our Glasgow accents at the Citizens Theatre? It's like, they got to do that now. So we don't have to fight for that like we had to do in the 80s, you know what I mean? Like, or in the 90s. Like, we've clicked into another level of, we're almost on level 25 of the video game or whatever. So you don't have to worry about problems that existed on level 2 of the video game. And I think that's the thing that's really funny about it. That was patriotic to me, to be like, Glasgow and theatre needed to sort itself out. To see the history of the closed theatre, to see that the women made it all happen, to see that the women were there and like making money from it, from theatre in the South Side for decades. The Close is such a good name for a theatre, and they were gonna probably call the Citizens Theatre the Close Theatre, but what happened is the money from the Close Theatre really went to the Tron Theatre, which I love as well. Like, the Tron is our other twin child in theatre here. So you go, what are we going to see tonight? What's on this season? You know, this feeling that you get right before you go on the stage as an actor, where you're like, oh my fucking God, man. Like, who am I doing it for now? Like, what am I doing it for now? Like, what prayer and service am I bringing now? Like, how can I service it now? And I met a woman after the Close show who was like talking about all this movement that she does with theatre companies. And I was like, Jesus Christ, have you heard of Viewpoints? And she was like, I've always heard of it, but I never did it or something. And I was like, I've done Viewpoints. Like, I literally was taught Viewpoints by Kelly Moore, who was taught by Anne Bogart in New York. Like, we can't lie about the fact that Anne Bogart has a book about Viewpoints, and it's beautiful, and it explains so much shit about everything to do with it. But Viewpoints is really about like throwing away the ego, being a part of the group, and you have to put these young people in these lanes like that. You can't start them and just let them do Viewpoints because their brains get in the way. You need to start them in lanes, and there's rules to the lanes. And then after you take the lanes away, because they get it a little bit, they understand that they can't move unless their motion is motivated by an outside movement. You know, like if there's a bird outside that moves, maybe they move, and then someone over at the other side of the stage, everyone else starts doing that. And it's not about a bird movement, but it's literally, you feel that the group is one flock of birds, to use the same analogy. Like, you're metaphorically, like an amoeba, one cell, you're moving with each other, you're not individuals. And I was doing the front page when we were doing Viewpoints, so everyone else, every other cunt was doing the same play. All the other women were doing the same play with me, but they were in another, no, all the women in my class were doing the women. They were doing a different fucking play. So every chick in my class, the first play I was ever doing on Atlantic, the second play, the Atlantic off-Broadway stage, I remember all the women in my class at Atlantic were doing the women, and it was a totally fucking different play, and they got to like move in a way that they did in that era, and like they got to do all this like crazy amazing Viewpoints that Kelly Moore was sparking from all this Anne Bogart infused ethos. And I then had to work with every dude in my class. It was just me and like every other dude in my class. And it was so wild because all of my character scenes were with all these dudes who were in the front page with me. So it was very like isolating as a woman, and very like they had to wear their trousers and their fancy shoes, because in that era, like all you had was fancy shoes and trousers. So I had to wear like heels of the era while we were doing this movement, which changes the whole dynamic. And everything was so poignant. We would come up with these like visuals like that were so poignant from the era, but also that felt like the emotional essence of the play through movement. Like, you can't even explain the shit that Viewpoints creates for you on the stage. You just go, oh, that's the whole fucking character right there. Like, you don't have to do anything. If you're in like a 1920s play and you're playing like a penniless prostitute, if you have crappy heels from that era, you feel like a fucking penniless prostitute. I also had these dots under my eyes that I put on because that was the makeup of the era if you were a prostitute. So Molly Malloy had these 2 dots, and I took that out anytime I went out after the play. I would go out in New York and I would stay up talking to everyone about whatever the fuck was pointed to me at that time. But I just remember never letting go of these 2 dots. And oh yeah, one of my pals said that when they saw me one year at Sundance, that I had the 2 dots. I was like, I don't remember that fucking year, but obviously I must have taken the dots to Utah at some point, because if they remember, then that's not a lie. Anyway, anyway, I'm gonna go and like, what am I gonna do? Like make some muffins, make some blueberry muffins or some shit? I don't know. It's that time of day.